Today is like ordinary any other day.
Okay.
But I understand that
But what makes it a spectacular one?
in Nigeria,
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the judgment being expected from the Supreme Court regarding the petition of PDP and its candidate Alhaji Abubakar challenging the victory of Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu as declared by INEC.
Just concluded the next
Yes, and the one involving the P2B of Labour Party equally challenging the victory of Tinubu as declared by INEC.
Okay.
Now let me quickly say that personally,
You always quickly say it.
I don't have interest, I don't have confidence and interest in Nigerian judicial system.
Wow.
What eroded my interest is the lack of confidence in Nigerian judicial system. We cannot forget the issue of Bukachiwa so quickly in a hurry. I mean Senator Bukachiwa, who accused the wife. It's not even an accusation, who made a revelation of how, as a senator, as a serving senator, he influenced the wife, who was at the time the vice president of Court of Appeal, so to give judgment in favor of his colleagues. So for me, a country that have not been even able to deal with that individual by way of prosecuting him is not one should trust their judicial process. This is what that came to the fore. There are so many issues that happen that is not coming to the front burner, that's not coming to the open for people to know. So for me, I don't have confidence in Nigerian judiciary.
Now you said you don't have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary, but the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) are saying that they have that confidence in the Nigerian judiciary and they believe the court will serve the best judgments.
Watch what is happening after the judgment. They will tell you that they don't have confidence in the system. To be quite honest with you, we have to get a point where we need to amend our laws in such a way that the constitution should be in such a way that finish all litigation to the last level before the swearing in. Because once you swear in the president, there's automatic state capture. As it stands, whether I like it or not, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is the president, is the commander of the armed forces. Today, as we deploy security to the premises of the Supreme Court, they fall under the purview of the office of the president. If the IG, director of DSS, the Army Command, GOC commanding
security agents,
they are all under the office of the National Security Advisor, who directly reports to the president. So they are the one deploying security to the area. And Nigeria democracy is not mature to the extent where security agencies personnel would pay their allegiance to the constitution. What we have in Nigeria is they pay their allegiance to the man who is sitting on that seat. So to get to the point where you amend that constitution so that you finish all litigation before swearing in, then you can have some level of confidence in the system.
All right, 7 Supreme Court justices will decide today. And I want to ask you a question. What is the hope of Peter Obi?
I don't want to speak about hope of Peter Obi because that is to prejudice the outcome of the case. Because let me tell you, if you go through the profile of almost all the judges on that panel, these people have served at different levels of election petition, at the level of governorship, National Assembly, and Nigerians over time have spread the satisfaction of how the judgment have always been. And these people that you have elevated to that level who will now determine this case. I don't have confidence in them, I must tell you. I don't have confidence in them. And you may say it's a guesswork, but why the rush to give this judgment? At the time, Atiku is even still struggling to bring another evidence from the United States of America. So why the rush?
That was the question I wanted to.
Why don't you wait for that evidence to come? I understand that the court in America have said Atiku did not meet all the criteria to release such documents. And who say Atiku may not go back to look at the judgment and try to come up with another application that will meet all the requirements according to American law. So why they rush to give the judgment?
But after the
For
court,
me, I think it's a kind of trying to ambush article.
are you sure? Because after the court hearing,
They want to give judgment and he brings any document. It is no longer serving any purpose in this round of investigation.
So you're suspecting.
I'm thinking that they want to ambush article.
They want to ambush article. But even if he brings up the fresh evidence, is it admissible?
No, once they are giving judgment, you can only initiate another maybe another litigation. But if it borders on the same thing, they will tell you that it is a waste of time and it does not have merit, and that you cannot subject a man to double jeopardy, that the man will be tried and discharged in the before. So for me, the rush, I see it as a way to ambush article.
But are you aware that on Monday, after the court hearing, there was a statement that before the 5th of November, the information of today will be released. Are you aware?
But the judges are not equally unaware of Atiku's attempt to get another document from America. So even as I'm aware of their intention to release the date, the judges are not equally unaware of Atiku's intention to get, though it may not be to the official knowledge of the judges, even as he was equally pursuing the Chicago issue in America, it was not in the official knowledge of the court, but the whole world knew he was there looking for a document. In the same vein, I think the judges should be aware that Atiku was trying to get some document from America. So I feel it's a way to ambush him.
And do you think the Chicago State University records that was released will be considered at the Supreme Court today?
No. You know, the way they do litigation in Nigeria, if you have objection to an issue, they will allow you to present your case, and they will carry it along with the substantive issue. So that the day they will be giving judgment, they will first of all give judgment on the objection, then they will not give judgment on the substantive issue. So all the argument for whether they should admit the document or not can be argued. The argument of whether the statement, the document is forged, that is the argument that whether the document Mr. President submitted to INEC is forged or not have been argued. So I think the court, or rather the judges, will give judgment one after the other as they commence today.
Okay, and do you think these Supreme Court justices will do the right thing? Looking at their pictures here.
The Bible says, "Woe to him that put a trust in man." I don't know. I don't have trust. I cannot put my trust in man.
You cannot put your trust in them, right?
The Bible says, "Woe to him that put his trust in man."
We are talking about Bible. We are talking about.
Bible.
I
believe the scripture. So me, I cannot believe. I just told you the story of Bukatiwa. Zainab Bukatiwa, who was, I think, the vice president of the Court of Appeal. How a serving Senator Bukatiwa said he influenced the wife to give judgment in favor of his colleagues. Is it not the same Nigerian judicial system? I don't know whether recently he was in a court to ask the court to protect him. He has some level of privilege over what he said during that validatory session. And the court made it to decide that your privilege do not extend to what you said.
All right,
we are seeing that senator working freely. And he wants me to put my trust in judges.
All right, this Matthew is a very funny man. That's what Odunlade is saying here. Matthew is a funny man. And we have Moki Great saying that no case, Matthew. No case. I think the victory goes to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's what.
No, you are the one president.
No, that's what.
I don't know.
No. You don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Now you get me now. That's what Odunlade and Muki are saying here. No case to answer.
Maybe they have access to classified information. Let me speak directly to Taiwo Odunlade. Mr. Taiwo Odunlade is the environment over there in London. I understand from what we are reading, Mr. Mike is reading from the comment section. Maybe you have access to some classified information. I understand you are a close ally of the people in government, but personally, I do not have access to what you have access to. So you may be speaking from a privileged point of view. But I understand that in Nigeria, even as we are saying we do not have confidence in Nigeria's judicial system, that it is prejudice to extrapolate what the outcome of the judgment will be.
I think you have a supporter here, Demian Osas, telling you that Mr. Matthew No need to argue. Leave them alone. Now you should leave Wookie Great and Odunlade alone. I think that's
No, if I want Odunlade to throw jab at me, I will attack you.
All right,
Like I want to be on the same page with him. Maybe I should say things that good things about the government that I cannot help. That does not mean if the government does the right thing, we say it. But if we see anything the government is doing that is wrong, and we feel that if we follow the other way, it's better we say it.
All right, King Yoruba telling you that good morning, the chairman of Iyendeba.
No, where is David?
All right, we are one big family. That's why I like Odunlade Taiwo.
Yes.
We are one big family. Okay, let's quickly move down to another story here. Court sacks RCCG pastor Gende of. That's Gende as son of Ogbomoso. What's really happened, Matthew? This is the person that was installed.
Mr. Abag, I will tell you that I don't really know what happened, but for me, I was surprised when this man left a position of honor where he was serving in the vineyard of God as a pastor with the Christian Church of God in the United States of America. I've read his version of the story where he said he approached Adeboye, who gave him the nod to venture into the stew. But let me quickly say that it is not honorable to work for God compared to the stew he was occupying before this court judgment. Because you understand that from the account,
is that seat not of God?
He's not working for God in that capacity.
God is not a religious person. Or you say Jesus Christ.
Let me tell you why I'm saying it.
You know why I'm saying this.
But let me tell you why I'm saying. You will see tell me why you are saying your own. The Bible made us to understand. He said,
as a Christian, the Bible makes you to understand.
Yes. No, I'm not the only Christian on this earth.
No,
I'm speaking on behalf of Christians.
Not as Muslims.
Us.
Because Muslims will say the Quran.
No, I'm not speaking for Muslims. Okay. I'm speaking, if I say us, I'm speaking for Christians. He said, "You shall receive power after the Holy Spirit come upon you. I be my witness in Jerusalem, in Judea, Samaria, and to the uttermost part of the earth." And there was a place where Jesus Christ was saying that the labor is much, but the laborers are few. He was going to want to send more laborers into the vineyard. So a laborer that is already in the vineyard should not be the one leaving the vineyard to take a stew, a traditional stew. Rather, to pray for more laborers to come into the vineyard. So from that point I'm saying is more honorable. And apart from that, if God honors you and you are serving his vineyard, as an individual, you may have another perspective. As an individual, I see that as the highest honor.
Okay, thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate you for coming on board. I think that this is the top story we have here. Did you dig? All right.
That's it. And you also quoting Bible verses. You see?
Okay, like we have it on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. 8-month battle over. Tinubu's victory ends today. That's what the Nigerian Tribune is saying.
Finally.
So be prepared.
Finally. It has begun. And I can tell you, I've been listening to the ruling so far. The oppositions are getting it woto, left, right, center.
Woto, in what way?
The judges have started.
Your principal's victory, to me, is negotiable.
No, it's not. No, listen.
I won't say it's not negotiable because we have it here.
I am telling you the real-time, reports, situation reports.
Okay.
Right now in the Supreme Court, Obi and Atiku are sweating right under their armpits because they are collecting woto from the judges. They told them that you not get case, now they go America and go and look for rats. You guys are not serious. People are just set of confused lots. Because you lost an election, you want to pull down this country. You see, today is the judgment day. Today is a day that a lot of things will finally be open. And people will, gather wherever headquarters they are to give salute to the master strategists of Nigerian politics. A man whom the best president, Agwebi, Obasanjo has given credit to be the biggest and the greatest politician in Nigeria's existence. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We must, as a matter of fact and evidence, accept defeat. We must, as a human, and for the sanctity of our unity, accept defeat. We must, as Nigerians with a brighter future, accept defeat and move on. The likes of Atiku and Obi, who are trying to return us back to the dark age of military. Because if you recall, immediately after February 25, we saw majority of their supporters going to the Nigerian army, saying that they should come and take over. I have never seen such a treasonable act before. How dare them go to the military and say that because your supposed Messiah, who never before now had the political weight to defeat a political juggernaut, a political master strategist, a politician who has over the years worked with the best president, which we never had, Abiola.
Don't forget, dollar is over 1,000 now.
We will talk about dollar. We are talking about we will talk about dollar. Listen, we will talk about dollar. Let's talk about the politics first. We'll talk about dollar. But let's talk about the politics first. The question is, the Supreme Court were the same. I mean, the courts, the judiciary were the same person that overturned Habo's election. PDP did not go out there to crowd foul. The same courts overturned Elumelu's election and they gave it to a Labour Party guy. The same appeal court overturned APC election in Eti or Sawana. They returned it back to the Labour Party because they were able to provide empirical evidence that serves our jurisprudence. You don't go to a party. America will not dictate what we do in our country. We must respect our sovereignty, our jurisprudence, our democracy. It's an ongoing process. We will not impose the standard of America on our well-being, on our nation being, and we must have that clarity of that this is where we are. Are you with me? So, as it were, they are collecting woto in that Supreme Court. It has started. They are calling, when they call a student out that, hey, you come here, why did you come late? Oh yeah, whoosh. That's what they have done to Obi. Obi just collected about 3 strokes right now. Atiku is the next on the line. We in the Tinubu camp, we are laughing at them. You know how they would have defeated this man if they had worked together. I said something yesterday, I want to restate it now. If Obi does not go back to those that breastfed him, PDP breastfed Obi. They breastfed him. They taught him politics. If he does not go back to where he learned it, to where he graduated, of course we can see that Obi now has a loud voice because PDP has been able to train him. Sort of. He needs to return back. A man who doesn't know where he's coming from, you know what will happen? You know what will happen now? There's a song that says that if you don't know where you're coming from, you are lost. You are lost. Obi has to go back to PDP and work with his master. Till tomorrow, Obi agrees and alludes that Atiku is his master.
You said something before we commenced this program. You said if Obi and Atiku had worked together in the same party, under the same platforms, they would have defeated Ashwad Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Let me tell you, nobody hijacks a plane from outside. Nobody. The only party that has the capacity, that has the financial muscle, that has the political spread. You know when you spread butter on bread? Say if the bread no reach, some part of the bread no go sweet. You guys to get enough bread, enough butter. PDP has that butter. But Atiku, you know what Obi did? He hijacked some part of it. Well, I don't blame him because it was Atiku that betrayed them, by the way. Ordinarily, the Southeast should have a representative for presidential aspirants. But Atiku came and I hijacked it. But here they are today, they have to go back to their vomit. The question is, if Obi does not return, his political career sọ pé ó ti lọ. You understand me? If they had worked together, all the votes Obi got in the southeast would have been for PDP, irrespective of whether it's Atiku. It would have been for who? PDP. They would have had nothing less than 10 million votes. And Tinubu would have been a what? No, non-issue. But immediately, that Tinubu saw that, when your enemies are confused, you don't call them back. You allow them to dance their Willow Lokomba. And this is what they did. Obi has discovered that he shouldn't have done what he did. But of course, he can go out there and say all sorts of things. I would like Obi to become the next Showore, Let him lead protest. I will join him. Let him lead, good governance. I will join him. I'll be a part of that cause. But for him to become the president, he needs to build the bridges. If you don't build up bridges, we have two rivers. We have river Benue. We have river Niger. If you don't build those two bridges, if you don't have that handshake, you can see that Obi tried to build the bridges across Benue, but in Niger, it got sunk. Across the Niger, that's when you now go to all those corners of the side. That is where the fuel in his vehicle got finished, and then they dealt with it.
Now you said Tinubu is a master strategist. He's this, he's that. Now I expect him to use that strategy, to make the country viable.
Now let me
live.
help.
And I expect him to use that strategy you said he has. I get him now to make the poor breathe.
Thank you.
Let me help.
Let
me help your.
This
Let me help your.
of Tinubu
Let me help. Let me help your. Let me help your. Let me help.
Nigerians are still complaining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, and let me help deepen your understanding.
Don't forget, he said he was prepared.
Let me help your understanding on governance.
All right.
There was one man who said he wants to take Nigeria from consumption to production. If a man wants to give you a cloth, you look at the cloth. Obi, all his life, has imported 90% of the products he sells. Because he has had access to cheaper dollar. Do you know that if dollar had always been expensive, Obi would have deemed it to build a local factory? Do you know that if dollar had been way more expensive than what it was, he would have deemed it to build at least a nylon factory? Everybody knows that it was Obi that was shouting consumption to production. And meanwhile, he's a container economist. All he knows is container coming to Nigeria. They kept us in this unproductive era that we find ourselves. Now, let me tell you why dollar is wanted. It is like a man who has been walking in the shadow, naked. But because there's no light around, thinks it's covered. But at the end of the day, someone brings a torchlight and beams the light on him. You know what happens? His nakedness becomes seen. Nigeria has been walking in its shadow naked. But because the subsidy of dollar was in darkness, that kept us in that shadow.
You sound like a politician.
We have lived. Are you feeling me? We have lived a false life. There's a country called Indonesia. Indonesia does not have 100% electricity. But Indonesia does not supply subsidized dollar to all and sundry. We have textile factories that are run by manual labor in Indonesia. You know why? because their dollar is not subsidized. Indonesia is closer to China than Nigeria. Indonesia can easily go to China and import fabrics, but because the dollar wasn't subsidized and it wasn't open up for every all and sundry to access. For as long as we subsidize our dollar, we can never, because we can never understand the idea that we should manage it. But we have been managing it since 1983. This issue of subsidizing dollar started in the 1980s, and that was when our productivity began to decline. In the 60s, in the 50s, in the early 70s, we were productive because we never thought about subsidizing dollar. And that was when IMF was scared of the naira. They said naira was becoming too powerful. Do you get the point? When we had that drastic turnaround was when we started defending the dollar. We now deem it fit that that dollar, let it be as available to every son. If lucky, who should be in Edo cultivating yam? But because of cheap dollar, it will now import yam.
Okay, Nigeria perish.
But listen, Nigeria, we need a drastic paradigm shift. And I am so glad that this man has garnered that confidence to ensure it took that, that decision. That this dollar must not be subsidized anymore going forward.
But why the rush? This is the time article.
Why not the rush? Your dollar has been subsidized since 1980. Your dollar has always been subsidized since 1980. You guys did not become productive. Okay, should we wait until Nigeria crumble and turn to Venezuela before we say that, everything don't bust? Don't we have the capacity to feed ourselves?
Your brother not.
Don't we have the capacity to grow our tomatoes, our corn? Because the dollar is subsidized. Listen, as a local manufacturer, you don't want to go into dollar business. You want to go to your farm and plant tomatoes and plant maize. But when a rich man has access to cheap dollar, he will not go and buy it from China. China has the economies of scale to beat my own local production.
China money is even bigger than it.
And at the end of the day, I will be beaten out of the business.
Guys, somebody saying something here. Nigeria is not a producing country.
Nigeria will become productive because we have removed the dollar subsidy.
Abi also has said that expect dollar at 2,000 by December.
When dollar becomes 2,000, we will cannibalize. Listen, we're not talking about yam here. We're not talking about yam. If dollar becomes 2,000 today, the question is, the years you have enjoyed subsidy regime, what did you use for it?
We never enjoyed.
The only person that took advantage of subsidy dollar, I think I can count it with my 5 hands. Dangote, Bua, the man that holds flour mills. You understand? And there may be some other little manufacturing companies. Now dollar don't go. They say we don't want subsidized dollar. Now if you want subsidized dollar, you must be a manufacturer.
No.
If you call yourself a businessman, you are inside computer village. All you do now, you go to China because you have access to small dollar. You go to China, let me produce torch. This one need to come to Nigeria. Invest in your people. But you're not going to produce this thing.
This is not a history class. That's what Blessed One is telling you. Michael, this is not history class. They will not because their business around.
You just one way person.
Their business is all about
deceiving Nigeria. Don't deceive people.
When your business is all around importation, you will not like the government.
Now, back to the judgment.
Listen. Okay. The farmers in the north, to God who made me, are the happiest person.
Who told you that? Did you see them for farm?
You are not a farmer. You are supposed to be a farmer anyway. You are supposed to be a farmer, but you call Lagos because they do agents.
Because of bad deeds.
The happiest people today are the local producers. all along, what they have wanted is subsidy should be removed on dollar. Did you know that if Awolowo, may God bless his memory, had not, built that courage to say Coca-Cola come to Nigeria and come and be producing, do you know that we'll still be importing Coca-Cola? And the numbers of jobs, the numbers of revenue that we are getting from Coca-Cola will not be there.
Back to the Judgment Day, the decision day. Nigerians are asking this question: why is the judgment so fast?
Why
is it
when the judgment was the when the judgment stop interrupting.
Is it at this point that Atiku is seeking for Tinubu's documents
Mr. Mike,
in the United States of America?
That's the reason why.
Do you remember?
That's why the four judges withdraw.
Why are you covering us?
Why
Wait.
are you blocking me?
Do you recall that when
Why are you blocking me?
Atiku was in Chicago State University? Do you recall appeal court extended the account?
It's a lie. Why are they rushing?
Have you forgotten so
Just
soon?
today.
But this is Supreme, the apex court.
Have you forgotten so soon? When Atiku was in Chicago State University, they were supposed to hold their hearing. They said, no, let us extend it. And Atiku had a lot of time. So you cannot be false evidence.
Why the judge is rushing?
He brought it.
Let them put to a mud.
They saw it, nothing tangible. And now they are complaining because the election, the ruling is being expedited. You see, the opposition, as they are, when person who don't spoil, now to the other way we go take.
Why is he rushing now?
Minister of Yam, someone is attacking you here.
Okay.
Neyi, please don't mind Minister of Yam.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Looking great.
No, I won't. Okay, great. Kudos. Minister of Yam.
But today,
ordinarily, is not productive in Lagos.
Are you productive?
All he's doing is being a middleman. Trying to scalp people. Exploit people. He should be in Benin cultivating yam, and he should be a big man by now. But he's here in Lagos. Doing a middleman. I get you won't buy. I get that.
Don't deceive Nigeria.
You go to the real people that hold it. Oh yeah, add 5,000. Is that productive?
You don't deceive Nigeria. Don't deceive Nigeria. They ask you a question. Why is he so hurried now? Because the document will still come out.
Okay.
Answer him.
Okay. Should we extend? Okay. My question is, Mr. Mike, before I leave. My question is, should the Supreme Court extend it to
a month? I want the FBI case to come out.
No, should they extend it? No, should they extend it to 2025? Are you okay by that? Should they extend it to 2025?
Let's see for the other side what happened to FBI.
All right. Thank you. So what you said, you wanted to say something about someone of
you don't have anything to say again.
No. We'll talk about that later.